Guys, it's Chris Williams here with Cyclone Fanatic telling you about one of my favorite companies that I've worked with, and I hire them all the time. Country Landscapes. They're located up in Ames, but they have offices in eastern Iowa as well, over in North Liberty. Got one up in Clear Lake. I've hired Country Landscapes to do all the landscaping in my front yard, but I've also hired them to come over and give me advice on planting trees in my front and backyard. Stuff I don't really know about, but boy, the folks at Country Landscapes are experts in this field. They also have a skilled stone mason division that creates outdoor living and cooking spaces. It's something I need to look into. Check them out. Country Landscapes. You want that dream fire pit in your backyard? That's an idea for this spring. Country Landscapes supporting our March Madness coverage of the Cyclones here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
The world will never be the same once you see it through the eyes of Fairway Frank.
Frank, we'll sell London broils, New York strip steaks, pork chops, pork steaks.
Frank's mama always said, life is like a T-bone steak. When you shop at Fairway, you know exactly what you're gonna get.
At the Karl Auto Group Collision Centers, we make it easy. Our expert Platinum iCard technicians use the latest technology and innovations to repair any make or model of vehicle on the road. Multiple locations in Iowa to get you back on the road faster. Get your free estimate today, in person or online at karlauto.com.
Your dealer for life, it's the Karl way.
All right, guys, we're doing a little pregame here. Cyclones Sweet 16, Iowa State and Illinois. We don't know the start time tonight. We recorded this, so this is not live. If you are commenting here, we're not being rude by not responding. We recorded this earlier in the afternoon before we headed to the arena because of the time situation. I want to thank all of our great sponsors, specifically our friends over at Keen Project Solutions. They're a new partner of ours at Cyclone Fanatic this year. They're a modern engineering and construction firm that serves agriculture, industrial, and commercial markets. I want you to check them out at thinkdifferentthinkkeen.com. That's K-E-E-N, thinkdifferentthinkkeen.com. And also, my new buddies over at Central States Roofing. They are based out of Ames. It's a great locally owned company since 1968. They love the Cyclones. 100% of their employees are local, which I love. They don't subcontract any of their work. Cyclone Fanatic thanks them for their great cover, for supporting our coverage of the Cyclones this March. My name is Chris Williams, joined as always by Rob Gray. Okay, here we go, man. Iowa State in the Sweet 16. You and me have done different types of deep dives on this game. You've gone for more of an Iowa State front. I've really studied the Illini quite a bit. What do you think about this, Rob? I like Iowa State to win the game. Where's your feeling at from an Iowa State perspective?
I have the same feeling, Chris. I'm not a believer that, what happened in one game carries over the next, but the fact that they weathered that storm of starting out, whatever it was, 1 for 14 or whatever from the field, the Curtis Jones 3 was big in hanging in with Washington State. I don't see that happening again against an Illinois team that has length, so they can bother you, but they don't play a pressure style, and but they're so good offensively. So if Iowa State can't do the things it does, and they did it efficiently against Washington State, didn't have a ton of turnovers, but most of them, all of them translated into points, it felt like, and a huge advantage in that area. So if Illinois is somehow able to handle that pressure, it could be a long night, early morning. But I feel like Iowa State's pressure will get to the Illini. And at the very least, this is going to be a game that goes down to the wire. And if Iowa State's going to win, it's probably not going to jump much past the 70-72 mark for whoever wins the game.
Yeah, I mean, the really interesting part of this is I took a lot of time yesterday and went through Illinois' schedule. Who have they played? How have they done against elite defenses? And what we found out is that they really haven't played many elite defenses. Yep. Now that I want to be careful with my words here. Domask and Shannon, like they got weapons who could go out and turn it up tonight against Iowa State. I'm not overlooking this team, but it's worth pointing out, like that man, like they really haven't seen a defense like Iowa State's since December when they played Tennessee. And like, look at Iowa State. Iowa State's a completely different team now compared to what it was in December. But they didn't do very well against Tennessee, and this is really from. I'm kind of surprised that all the national experts seem to be on Illinois here.
Yeah.
They're really falling for the offense over defense trap potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think that they're in for a rude awakening tonight. I think Iowa State's a tougher team. Will that result in a win? I don't know. But the resumes are cut and dry. Iowa State's is significantly better to get here.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're talking about the number one defense in the country. And when I was watching some of the talking heads nationally, they were saying you have the number one offense against a very good defense. I don't know if they didn't know that Iowa State has number one offense, but that was kind of how they would frame it, and then say they've just got too many weapons and they're going to score up and down and could be a close game, but I like Illinois to go on. Again, like you said, that very well could happen. The guy who scares me the most, I mean, getting the guy off the bench, hasn't missed for however long, but Coleman Hawkins scares me.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
got
good player.
He can shoot the ball. He's not your frontliner. Shannon's averaging 30.1 points in the postseason, 23.3 for the season. But there's something about that guy that feels like he shows up in big time moments. And I don't know who Iowa State answers him with. I noticed what you've done with Bloom and you've written about. I think Demarion Watson absolutely merits some additional run. So I'm in with you there because he can be such a problem for the guards. Shannon, Damask, and others, and also Hawkins. So I feel like Iowa State's equipped to bother them both on the perimeter and in the interior with the toughness of Robert Jones and Trey King and the athleticism of Hassan Ward as well. The wild card is foul trouble, right? If either the Gilbert or Lipsy gets in foul trouble, that's a problem. But if two bigs get in foul trouble, then that's a huge problem, and that's where Watson can possibly, wallpaper over, put some Band-Aids on as you try to get to the finish and get to the Elite Eight.
Let's thank a couple of our March sponsors. Being able to do this, we don't take it for granted. It's expensive to be on the road for this long. Rob and I basically haven't been home in the month of March. We thank our other sponsors, Karl Auto Group, Country Landscapes. I just hired them for a new project. And then, of course, our old reliable Fairway Meat and Grocery. Go out and get yourself some meat, baby. Yeah, when I draw up, I like to draw up scenarios, right? Like, so this game, according to Las Vegas, is essentially 50-50. Maybe it would be 55-45 Iowa State, according to the odds makers. There's one way I see Iowa State losing this, because I think Iowa State's defense, I really do. I don't see Iowa State's defense loosening up tonight. So I see Illinois having two outs. Okay. One is the officials. If it's a tightly officiated game, this is not an excuse. I'm not building one. I'm saying if it's a tight, that's going to favor the Illini. Good free throw shooting team. They get to the line a lot. That will favor Illinois. The other way is just we've seen this Iowa State team, not as much recently, but they'll go on these scoring droughts that will just you'll rip your hair out. We saw one against Washington State, but Iowa State was just good enough to, smother them in the second half, and they go on and win the game. But I don't think that Iowa State can survive a scoring drought like that against a team like Illinois.
No, they're just too skilled, and they come at you from every angle and inside, outside. Shannon can get his shot up anytime, but a really good shot. You noted in your piece today, but I had mentioned it to you even before. My lingering memory of Terrence Shannon is just taunting the Cyclones after beating them by 30 plus. And that's in that first round of the Big 12 tournament before the Cyclones went on the Sweet 16 run in year one. And now they meet again, for the first time. different guy, different situation, different scenario, obviously, with the Sweet 16 and the teams being different. But I think it could cut both ways, though. The way Illinois is, frankly, yeah, they're okay defensively. I mean, I think they're top 100 still. If Iowa State gets downhill with Lipsy and Gilbert and potentially Jones, and then you've got the big guys cutting, they might be forced to foul a lot. They might not quite be ready if Iowa State decides to go that route. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's been a while since Iowa State's had a decided advantage to the foul line, so I'm not saying at all that that would be remotely possible given Iowa State, Illinois guards can penetrate and the bigs can play. But I feel like a long night, early morning could be longer with both teams shooting a fair amount of free throws. Is all I'm saying. Might be on potentially on the table too.
All right, I'm picking Iowa State to win a game by 5 to 10 points.
I'll go
Is
3
that
to
too
7.
aggressive? 3 to 7.
Well,
Okay, yeah.
I guess it is
right
because
there.
that's 3 to 7,
Yeah.
but not by much. I really think, again, the level they're playing defensively, and they've maintained it. They've sustained it. They sustained it when they were playing really poorly offensively down the stretch of the regular season and early into postseason. That's been rock solid, and I don't see that flagging tonight. And weird stuff can happen, but I think because of that, they're the slightly better team, barring just a crazy outburst from a Shannon or Hawkins, whoever on that Illinois team.
Rob, great work this week. Really want to thank Aiden Wyatt, who's back in Iowa. He's helping us get all this multimedia coverage up as soon as we can, especially after the games, with our locker room coverage that has become incredibly popular. Those things are getting hundreds of thousands of views on social media, and it's been a nice addition to our coverage on the road. Aiden's 100% responsible for that, so we thank him. And again, I just want to thank our sponsors and our Patreon and premium subscribers. Like, this whole thing works because it's supported. If it's not supported, we're not covering Iowa State the way that we do. And that's with women's basketball, with wrestling. We've been on the road for everything. We were the only local media outlet at all 3 conference tournaments this year for the however many year in a row. So we it's not lost on us. We appreciate all of you. And I'll be here post-game, but it's going to be super late. I will not be doing a live post-game show right after the game because of the time situation. Just so you guys know, I'll probably come back to my hotel room and record it. Don't worry, Aiden. I'll record it on my own. You don't have to wait up for me, buddy. But it might be 2 o'clock in the morning, 3
Way
o'clock
after
in the morning.
dark.
Yeah. So I maybe I'll crack a bottle of Cody Road and I'll just turn it on live, and whoever's up can. If Iowa State wins, I will do that. How about that, Rob? You in? If Iowa State loses, I don't want to talk to you guys at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
No,
Iowa
absolutely.
State wins, I'll gladly do it. We'll
Yep.
plan on that. All right. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll be here for you all night long, all weekend long, all year long, 365 days, baby.